School holidays have started and we're off right away. We cycle from Marktredwitz along the Ahr River to Karlsbad and along the Ahr Mountains to the Elbe River. Then along the Elbe through the Elbe Sandstone Mountains and via Dresden and Magdeburg to Hamburg. But first we have to get from home to what is still the biggest construction site in Europe, Stuttgart's main train station. From Stuttgart we take the train via Nuremberg to Marktredwitz. From there we finally cycle to Hamburg. After only about 20 kilometers we're in the Czech Republic, and another 8 kilometers further on we arrive in Cheb around midday. We decide to have a quick break and want to get going again soon, as the rain clouds are getting closer. Unfortunately, in our haste, Sandra gets a saddlebag caught on something, and we have to make a temporary repair to the broken mount. Problem solved, and on we go. The rain clouds have caught up with us, so we're keeping the tent packed and checking into the park hotel in Sokolov. The weather is better than predicted today. The bike path follows the Ahr River and winds mainly through forest. Around midday we reach the spa town of Karlsbad with its 13 mineral springs. Each one tastes worse than the last. I survived, but since we're not in any pain at the moment, we don't buy a sippy cup and just have one taste. It's so beautiful that even James Bond's Casino Royale was filmed here, and we don't even notice the rain clouds gathering again. To escape the rain, we take the train for a short stretch and then cycle the last 20 kilometers along a brown coal mining area to Chomutov. Today we're aiming for Ústí nad Labem on the Elbe River. That'll be almost 70 kilometers and 630 meters of elevation gain. What's much more challenging, however, is the route guidance, which keeps sending us off-road and over rough terrain today. Well, if you love your bike, you push. Unfortunately, there was no other way in some sections. But we had lunch for two, including drinks and a tip for a total of 16 euros. And it tasted great too. Finally, back on the road. At the youth hostel, we meet other cyclists who help us with self-check-in and give us useful advice for tomorrow on the Elbe Cycle Path. Today we reach the Elbe River, and after just a few kilometers, the scenery becomes increasingly beautiful.
Mir fällt's heute nicht leicht.
We're encountering a lot of cyclists coming the other way. We've arrived at the Elbe Sandstone Mountains and pitched our tent right on the banks of the Elbe River in Königstein. Yesterday we spent a very pleasant evening with other cyclists. Christine and Christoph took us to Königstein for dinner, and at the campsite we met Marit and Annelies, two Dutch sisters who entertained us with their ukulele. Now we're cycling a short distance to Rathen, where we'll take the ferry to the other side of the Elbe. There, despite the fog and onset of rain, we hiked up to the rock castle and across the Bastei Bridge to the panoramic restaurant. Unfortunately, the view wasn't quite as spectacular due to the weather, but it was still beautiful. We took the same route back to our bikes. Then the rain stops, and what follows is a relaxing, enjoyable bike ride. Just an hour and a half later, we see the first suburbs of Dresden on the other side of the Elbe. In Dresden, we meet up with our daughter Nadine in the afternoon. We're staying here for 2 nights because we want to explore Dresden tomorrow. And so we do. First, we head to Theatre Square, from where you can see many of Dresden's sights from the outside. Then we go to the Zwinger Palace. We take a closer look at it. It was built between 1711 and 1728 on the orders of Augustus the Strong and rebuilt between 1945 and 1963 after its destruction. Just a few steps from the Zwinger is the Procession of Princes, a mural of the Saxon rulers made of Meissen porcelain tiles. A few more steps and we're standing in front of the Church of Our Lady. Let's take a look inside. We haven't suddenly arrived in the Netherlands. No, we're on our way from Dresden to Meissen. Finally, the weather seems to be improving. I can't believe it, but there are actually cyclists who are faster than us. In Meissen, we visit the porcelain manufactory. We look at the display pieces and take a guided tour where we're shown the various stages of porcelain production. Even though many of the products don't suit our personal taste, after the tour we have considerably more respect of this elaborate craftsmanship. In the afternoon, we reach Riesa, where we camp in glorious weather on the campsite. The Dutch girls with the ukulele from 2 days ago arrive shortly after us. We leave the many Mirabelle plum trees at the campsite and head towards Torgau. Today's route is not very spectacular, but the weather is finally great. Lots of farmland, and then suddenly this one appears. On the other side of the Elbe, we discover this huge sunflower field. Simply beautiful. In the evening, we unexpectedly run into Marit and Annelies again at the campsite and had fun together with their ukulele. We chat with them over breakfast and therefore get a late start. The Elbe Cycle Path isn't as busy here anymore, which is also noticeable from the fact that there are hardly any beer gardens. We find another nice spot to camp at the Wittenberg Rowing Club. First, we have a good breakfast at the rowing club and then we start exploring Wittenberg. Martin Luther nailed his 95 theses to the door of the castle church here. Of course, we check out the 360-degree panoramic showroom called Luther 1517. Absolutely fantastic. Then we continue along the Elbe Cycle Path to Dessau, where the Bauhaus Museum and a few Bauhaus-style houses are located. After Dessau, it feels like an eternity through the forest, and then we arrive quite exhausted at the boat club in Acken. A quick dip in the Elbe, and to top it all off, a shandy. Slowly but surely, we're getting closer to our destination. It's very flat here. The elevation gain is negligible. The route is particularly beautiful today. First, we cycle through a lot of forest. Then we come to a lovely little castle. At the harbor in Schönebeck, just before Magdeburg, we pitch our tent again right on the banks of the Elbe. What a shame, but the Mückenwirt restaurant in Magdeburg was still closed. So our first stop is this old drawbridge from 1848. We only take a quick look at Magdeburg as we drive through. Even though the cathedral with its two 100-meter high towers is very impressive. There probably would have been much more to see, but we wanted to continue on to the campsite near Bertingen. And on the way there, we also wanted to check out the Elbe Havel Canal. We like the family-run campsite in Bertingen with its small pond so much that we stay here for 2 nights, taking a day off to do laundry and relax. Not much else happens on our rest day.
And my life feels so vacant. Without you, I'm just moving in between.
With heavy hearts, we leave our idyllic spot.
But I've been out here waiting for someone else to feel.
Today's route covers over 70 kilometers, but almost no elevation gain.
You're with someone else. Well, I'm here by myself, holding on to what you left. Was it all in my head?
Our first stop is Tangermünde. There we learn about Greteminde, a figure whose monument is located near the church.
I put you before me. Memories haunting me knowing you gave it up.
Then we continue to Schönhausen, the birthplace of Otto von Bismarck, the first Chancellor of the German Empire. We arrive in Havelberg at 4 p.m. exhausted from the heat. Next day's motto: heat battle on the dam. The first few kilometers take us between the Elbe and Havel rivers to the Havel estuary. Unfortunately, there's hardly any shade on today's route.
Feels so vacant. Without you, I'm just moving in between. A sad reality. No, I'm patient, but I've been out here waiting for someone else to feel.
In the end, it's another 73 kilometers today.
Was it all in my head when you said you loved?
The next day, it's just a few kilometers through this pretty landscape to Gorleben. But Gorleben isn't remembered for its beautiful scenery, but rather for the nuclear waste storage facility and the demonstrations by the No to Nuclear Power movement against the final repository and the transports to the interim storage facility. Near the interim storage facility is the former Greenpeace ship Beluga and the Beluga Triangle, a forest clearing named after it, where information panels explain the background and timeline of events surrounding the nuclear waste storage facility. From the Beluga Triangle, we cycle to various circular villages. Interesting village layout, but we want to continue on to Dannenberg. From Dannenberg we first go to Hitzacker, a truly beautiful little village. Apart from strong headwinds, which are really annoying us today, only one other thing happens. My childhood dream comes true. I'm in Bullerby. However, this isn't the village in Sweden from Astrid Lindgren's books with the children of Bullerby, but the name of the campsite in Bullendorf near Lauenburg. After breakfast in Bullerby, we start our penultimate day of cycling. Lauenburg is the southernmost town in Schleswig-Holstein and has a well-preserved and picturesque old town. Today it's just a stone throw to Hamburg-Bergedorf, but a high one, because there are still 270 meters of elevation gain ahead. Who would have thought?
Nach mehr als 900 Kilometer sind wir jetzt kurz vor Hamburg. Man glaubt es kaum, aber hier gibt's Berge. Gestern haben wir 380 Höhenmeter gemacht. Damit haben wir überhaupt nicht gerechnet.
We've cycled 945 kilometers to Bergedorf. The remaining distance to St. Pauli tomorrow probably won't be enough to reach 1,000 kilometers. Now we're looking forward to seeing our two daughters. Today's the final push. Just 25 beautiful kilometers to St. Pauli. Even though we're already in Hamburg, it's still very rural here until just before the city center. Around noon we reach the Elbphilharmonie and then head to Altona for lunch at the fishing harbor.